Welcome to Gas Ed. Today we will be discussing the core skills that let you get productive with Claude Code in well under an hour. Right now, we are looking at a massive shift in how we build systems. I mean, what used to take days of manual programming or, hours of dragging and dropping nodes in those clunky workflow builders, well, all of that can now be accomplished in just minutes using conversational AI. And the absolutely best part? You can do this even if you have never written a single line of code in your entire life. Today, we're going to look at how you can build highly reliable, business-ready automations using an AI agent that works right alongside you. In this explainer, we'll walk through the architect's blueprint. Our agenda is pretty straightforward. First, we'll cover setting up the foundation. Second, we'll dive into the Watt automation framework. Third, we're looking at planning and self-healing systems. Fourth, we'll give your agent superpowers with MCPs and skills. And finally, number 5, deploying to the cloud. Let's jump right in. Section 1. Setting up the foundation. Because, well, you can't build a house without a workshop, right? Your AI agent definitely needs a place to operate. To get started, you're going to need the Visual Studio Code Editor. You'll often hear it just called VS Code. It is a total industry standard, and it's completely free to download. Once you're inside VS Code, you just install the Claude Code extension. Now, a quick heads up, accessing Claude Code through this specific extension does require a paid Anthropic plan. And a quick pro tip for you, power users who are running really complex automations will often upgrade to the max tier just to make sure they never hit those annoying usage limits. Now, the environment itself is brilliantly straightforward. It's a beautifully simple split. Your project files, your folders, and your instructions all live over on the left side, and your conversational AI agent, it lives on the right side. You basically just chat with the agent on the right, tell it exactly what you want to achieve, and then watch as it magically writes the code and organizes the files over on the left. It completely removes all that overwhelming complexity you usually get with traditional coding interfaces. Section 2. The Watt Automation Framework. Okay, so let's discuss the fundamental system that actually makes these automations reliable and ready for business. Because if you've ever used AI, you know that sometimes it gets a little creative. And in business automation, creative usually just translates to broken. So the absolute crucial point here is understanding the Watt framework. Watt stands for Workflows, Agents, and Tools. This is a 3-layer system designed to completely separate the AI's probabilistic reasoning from the actual deterministic, hard-coded execution. Basically, the Watt framework ensures your automation doesn't hallucinate by keeping the plain language instructions strictly separate from the execution steps. Let's map this out so it makes a bit more sense. Think of workflows as a manager's standard operating procedure. These are just simple text documents written in Markdown that clearly state exactly what needs to be done. The agent, which is Claude Code, is essentially the manager reading that SOP. It does all the reasoning, it makes the decisions, and it figures out the right sequence. Finally, the tools are your Python scripts. They act as the workers executing the actual physical tasks like making an API call or saving a file. By keeping the instructions, the brain, and the hands totally separate, your system becomes incredibly stable. Section 3. Planning and self-healing systems. With that solid foundation built, we can start constructing the actual automation using crystal clear communication. You see, you don't just dump a massive prompt on the agent and cross your fingers hoping for the best. Instead, you follow a really structured planning process. First, define your goal in plain English. Second, and this is a real game changer, put Claude into plan mode. By using plan mode, the agent acts like a high-level consultant. It'll actually pause, review your files, and ask you essential clarification questions about your specific data needs, your formatting preferences, and delivery methods before it writes a single line of code. Once you answer those questions, it generates a step-by-step plan. Only then do you hit approve for execution. But here's the cool part. What happens when things go wrong? Let's say the agent executes the plan but hits an error. Maybe it pulls way too much data and hits a YouTube API rate limit. What's truly revolutionary here is the self-healing loop. The agent doesn't just crash and throw its hands up. Nope. It autonomously researches the official documentation for that specific API, finds the correct batching method, rewrites its own Python tool to fix the code, and then brilliantly updates the Markdown workflow SOP permanently so the error literally never happens again. Your system is getting smarter every single time it breaks. Section 4. Superpowers, MCPs, and Skills. Next up, let's explore how to really upgrade your agent's capabilities beyond basic Python scripting so it can interact with the real world. You can turbocharge your agent by giving it MCP servers and skills. Now, these do two very different things. MCP servers securely interact with external applications. You can think of them as the bridge for how your agent talks to Gmail, Google Calendar, or Slack. Skills, on the other hand, give your agent highly specialized design or processing knowledge. For example, if you want your agent to design a super professional, branded PDF report, you'd load a specific design skill into its memory. It dynamically reads that skill only when it needs to design something, which saves processing power while drastically improving the final output. A great way to think about an MCP server is like a universal micro USB port for your business apps. Instead of manually wired up complex custom API connections, which, let's be real, usually requires reading endless, boring documentation just to figure out how to authenticate or read items, you plug the MCP in once. Suddenly, your agent can flawlessly read your inbox, schedule your meetings, or draft emails without needing you to write custom Python scripts for every single little action. Section 5. Deploying to the cloud. Finally, to make this whole system truly valuable, we need to move it off your local computer and into production. Because let's face it, an automation that only runs when your laptop is open isn't really fully automated, is it? This is exactly where cloud infrastructure comes in. By asking Claude to deploy the finished workflow to a service like Modal, your code runs securely in the cloud. You literally just tell the agent, hey, push this workflow to Modal, and it handles the whole shebang, packaging the files, setting up the environment, and securely hiding your secret API keys. And the incredible benefit of modern cloud platforms like Modal is that they're completely serverless. You are only charged for the exact seconds your automation executes, making it incredibly cost-effective, especially for small business owners. Once it's up in the cloud, your automation just needs a trigger to wake it up. You basically have two main options here. Schedule triggers, often called cron jobs, allow your automation to run totally hands-free on a strict schedule. Think about generating a competitor analysis report every Monday at 6 a.m. sharp. Alternatively, webhook triggers allow your automation to run instantly based on a specific event. So the exact second a new lead form is submitted on your website, a webhook can wake up your agent, have it research the lead's company using AI, and instantly email you a full dossier before you even pick up the phone to call them. Let's see how this all builds into massive real-world value. 187. That's a big number. To put this in perspective, in a single automated pass, following the exact framework we just walked through, this specific blueprint tracked 30 different channels, analyzed 187 trending industry videos, generated engagement charts, formatted a beautifully branded multi-page PDFs using those custom design skills, and emailed it directly to a stakeholder's Gmail using an MCD server. And it did all of this with absolute zero human intervention. The system just ran quietly in the cloud and delivered a polished, finished product. Which really brings us to the ultimate question you should be asking yourself right now. Look at your own daily workflows. Think about your data entry, your reporting, your research. What repetitive tasks will your first self-healing automation eliminate? The old barriers to building complex, enterprise-grade AI systems have completely vanished. You have the tools, you have the framework, and you have the strategy. The only limit now is your imagination. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.